Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Adam's Quest. In the last episode, our tribe was lucky enough to discover a creature with the digging trunk in the very last glacier on the island. Now his experience with this mountain is going to be invaluable. He has a 5 in digging, which means he can give us 5 pieces of food every single time he digs up one of these roots. So even if he only manages to dig up 2 roots in one turn, that's still 10 pieces of food. He's still basically single-handedly feeding our tribe, because that would be about half of the tribe mates that we have right now. So there's no question about it, he is a wonderful gift from our ancestors. And I think it's plain to see that our tribe is going to treat him as if he's one of the gods himself. I think that Silver in particular is probably really going to look up to him. His digging skills don't really compare to Duke Fanta's at all, so maybe he's hoping that he can learn a thing or two from the digging trunk while they travel. But for now, everybody over here on this side of the mountain is a little bit too tired to make any moves, so we're going to go back toward our bluebird leaders. We still have to bring poor Charm and Laurana back to their families. They have unfortunately been abandoned by Anako because she was far too excited to see her big sister again. So since Laurana has a little bit more energy on her, she's nice and toasty warm from sitting inside those hot springs, we'll have her try her best to guide Charm over to his mate. I believe if we move him right here, he should be able to hobble straight over to her side, but we don't want to leave Laurana behind either, so let's bring her right here in his shadow. I suppose I would even give Laurana the chance to talk to her sister too. Ramila was the one who discovered that balance bear after all, and she's also the one who's planning on turning back to vanquish it. So let's have her settle down right here too, between all of these tribe mates, so she'll be nice and toasty warm as well. That's part of the reason why she was a little bit afraid. She knows that that spiky body leaves her quite vulnerable to the cold, but Ramila doesn't want to be remembered for her fear. She wants to be remembered for all of the victories that she's had in her life, and she wants her daughter to be proud of her too. So I think she's going to decide to fight alongside our knights, and that's all well and good because they're going to need all of the backup that they can get. It looks like this rogue male has returned as well, snooping around our nursery, which is simply not going to fly. If he gets any closer, I'm sure that Cuckoo is going to take a good swipe, because he knows just how pesky these rogue males can be. Catnip is also going to be very, very protective over this place, simply because it's her mission to keep all the babies safe. She's just about to have her second baby too, so Catnip is already on pretty high alert as it is. Maybe, just in case, we should consider breeding Marina with Charm right now, just so we won't have to worry about him getting to her in the future, though he would have a very long way to travel to get to the Siren Springs. Maybe it's about time that Coco slipped out of her hot springs too, or at least slipped over to a different one instead. She could actually follow them down this way, because she knows that Mistletoe has been following this little baby Venuvan. Despite his unfortunate genetics, he is actually excellent at sniffing out roots. So these two have kind of been working together, and I think that Coco would like to get in on the action as well. It looks like he's already found a nice little tasty root right under his feet, so we'll see if somebody can help him dig that up in the next turn. Now I think we're just down to Anako, who's getting pretty cold too, so why don't we have her join in on the huddle over here? You can settle down right on top of this tree stump, and maybe you could offer to do a little bit of scouting for our tribe as well. I think she should be able to land on top of these trees. Oh, or maybe not. Do these trees not work the same? It doesn't look like she can use these to scout. Well, that's kind of a bummer, but still, she should be able to fly much further than any of our creatures can run, so she could go right out to the front and see if she can find the balance bear lurking. I think she is going to make an excellent scout indeed with those 2 wings of hers, a very valuable member of our tribe. Though I'm sure Marina is a little bit worried. I mean, she just got her little sister back and she's already going off to war. She knows that Anako isn't the strongest in the tribe, so all she can really do is hope that our brave knights will be able to defend her. But I think we should be ready to skip the turn now. So let's go ahead and zoom in straight on Catnip, because I'm curious if maybe this time her baby is going to have one of those special snouts. Oh my goodness, I think it might be these saber-toothed fangs. The perfect snout to see on an island like this. And not only that, but thanks to the ballerina ears and the dark color of her fur, I mean, she looks like she could be a little ancient ballerina, doesn't she? Oh, she is so cute. And she has the mammoth foot too. So while she doesn't have the ballerina claw to increase her strength, nor does she have the ram horns like her sister does, she still does have a fair bit of defense on her, so she might be able to act as the true shield of the mountains. If only she had the extra mammoth foot too, just like Atalanta, then she would be a little tank. But she is still adorable and very, very fierce. Those dark eyes make her look even more menacing than her sister. So I think we'll call her Clove to keep with the spice theme. And then let's zoom out and make sure that no other dangers have spawned on the mountains in the meantime. I didn't hear anything. Ooh, but it doesn't matter because the balance bear is right behind us. Oh my goodness, Anako. We don't even have a reason for you to come out here and scout for us anymore. Though since you can fly so far, it would probably still be a good idea for you to light up the way for our tribe. So we know that the balance bear is lurking right over here. You can definitely sense it now. So Cinnamon, you better charge straight in. You're going to have to land some of the first attacks. Let's see how much life it has left on it. Oh, okay, it's 3 days old. Oh, it has such a long lifespan. I thought maybe it was brand new, but it looks like this is still the same balance bear that we saw before. So it has a 2 in defense, and it has a 2 in attack. Oh, does that mean that Cinnamon wouldn't take any damage at all? Oh my goodness, Cinnamon, I think you could just stand here and like pummel the balance bear. Basically build a wall between the nursery and the balance bear. As long as it locks on you, you're going to be able to distract it until you can take it down and give your tribe a feast. So go ahead and land your attacks. You might as well. You've done 6 days worth of damage on the balance bear. That is not bad at all. I would still like I would still like Catnip to come over and help you out. But she's getting pretty close to the end of her lifespan too. To be honest, I'm not sure if she would make it over there in time. I guess that means we should probably just leave her here to make sure that her babies are safe. To give them a safe place to watch their father fight, perhaps. Because someday that might be them too. I'm sure that Ginger is going to be very eager to prove herself just like Cinnamon, so they'll have to make sure that she doesn't get over her head. It might just be a good idea for us to bring Cuckoo out a little bit further though, just to see where that rogue male may have run off to. Oh, he's actually right here. Cinnamon can just barely sense him. So Anako, you're going to want to steer clear of him as well. I guess we could bring her right over here. That way she can help light up the way for the rest of her tribe. We still want to bring Ramila up here after all, and she'll have to settle down right next to her tribe mates so she doesn't risk getting too cold. It looks like she can't quite sneak her way into this hot spring, but I guess we could always bring her one step closer. Actually, if the balance bear sticks around here, she could always fight it from the comfort of these hot springs instead. That would be a pretty interesting way for her to win that battle, but we'd have to make sure that Cinnamon really has the balance bear's attention. Now, is Lorana even strong enough to get in on the action too? No, she only has a 2 in strength, so there's really no point in her going after the balance bear as well. She wouldn't be able to do a lick of damage on it, so she might as well just stay here and relax for a little bit. Goodness knows these two have earned a bit of a break. So you can stay here and watch as Charm's next baby is born, I guess. You can help usher them into their new life, blessed by Adam's ancestors. Maybe you could at least look for some roots to dig up. No, but it looks like things are unfortunately pretty bare around here. Charm would definitely be able to smell any roots if we had some. So, to avoid getting too cold, we'll set you down inside the hot springs. And I guess we should probably do the same for Charm too. I know he's not going to want to get too far away from his kids, but we also want to make sure that no dangers are going to spawn right around here. So you guys stay put. Now let's bring Mistletoe over to the roof to see if he can help dig this up for the poor little baby. He's trying so hard, and Coco's trying too, but unfortunately that one is very stubborn. Maybe he'll be able to dig it out for us before we end the turn. Finding roots with you is a little bit more important anyway, Duke Phantom. Oh no, and he's getting cold too. We'll go ahead and dig up this room and then settle down between the ladies, because I'm sure they wouldn't mind keeping you nice and toasty warm. Now, unfortunately, this is Atalanta's final day, but she can rest easy knowing that the tribe is going to be very well fed from here on out. I'm sure she would even instruct Duke Vanta to make his way over to her family to ensure that they're going to be nice and well fed. I'm sure she misses Cinnamon dearly, and Duke Vanta will definitely recognize him, what with those big mammoth feet. I almost wonder if Scrooge might be a little bit jealous. I mean, he was the one with all the food before, since he was grabbing all those shells from the shore before anybody else could find them. But now this creature, Duke Vanta, is just digging up roots left and right, sharing them with the tribe too. He's not even keeping them all to himself. He's winning the hearts of everyone around him. So I guess those flowers will have to do for you, Scrooge. But just like Prophet, you're going to have to change your ways if you want to survive on this mountain, because now the weather should have reset. So let's see what Prophet's next vision says. Oh, in 5 days the weather is going to be snowy, so that means that we will have to do some quick fire rounds in order to see the snowfall. And it also means this group only has 5 days remaining to get back to the main part of camp. As ambitious as they all are, we don't really want them getting stranded out here, especially because they're carrying such special cargo with them. But I guess that all depends if Prophet decides to share his visions, and he hasn't really been too friendly toward our tribe in recent times. Duke Nukir has definitely sensed that, and he knows how important Prophet is too. He's the only remaining oracle in the tribe, so he's the only one who can tell us these things about the weather. But aside from that, Duke Nukir represents the sun, just like the oracles once did when they were first introduced. He knows that at the core of it, the sun's warmth is meant to be given to all. It doesn't matter what sort of things they did in the past, all of that drama can be pushed aside, because the sun brings our tribe together and it always shares its warmth. So maybe that'll be enough to convince Prophet that he's strayed a little bit too far away from his family's path, and maybe he would be willing to rejoin our tribe again on the next turn. I guess for now, all we could really have Silver do is try to roam the shores, but to be honest, I don't want him getting too far away from his tribe mates either. He's also very, very vulnerable to the colds. Why don't we bring him right up here? That way he can help sniff around for some more of those roots. Yes, and it looks like we do actually have one up there. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to snag it before we leave, but we might as well light it up if we can. We could even have Atalanta just one more time for old time's sake come on up here and try to dig up this root for us. Unfortunately, as always, it seems it's just not going to work. But I suppose we could have Duke Vanta use that root to set her remains to rest. It's interesting how the bluebird is right overhead too. Watching this tribe, probably watching Prophet again. The ancestors were particularly interested in him, and they must be pleased to see that he's starting to change his ways. Now with our rogue male no longer visible, it seems like he may have skittered off again. Maybe he's a little bit too afraid with this balance bear looming so near. I think it might be a good idea for us to bring Cuckoo up here, just so he can keep the ladies warm for this turn. Then we'll scoot Catnip straight into the middle of her nursery again, watching after all of the nests, of course. And the rogue male is still missing, so it doesn't look like he's caught the attention of any of our creatures. That means we should be ready to skip the day again, because most of our other creatures are going to stay where they are. So let's just make sure, just cross our fingers that everything is going to go smoothly here, and the balance bear will attack Cinnamon, but he won't do any damage. Oh, he is definitely trying. Did you hear that mighty roar? Oh, but Cinnamon, you don't even have a scratch on you? Talk about a knight indeed. So he could take down this balance bear single-handedly if he wanted to? Well, go ahead and land your other 3 attacks. There's nothing stopping you now. Ginger even has her 2nd gem now. And since she is Catnip's daughter, I think we're going to give her those gems that represent the flower crowns, because I'm sure that she would be wearing one of those too. So she is not going to waste a moment more. She's going to charge straight into battle too, right behind her father between all the clovers, eager as ever to get her paws dirty. Now I still don't see the rogue male, so I think Catnip will be okay. She can just go ahead and repair the nest. There we go, all nice and full again. Now if we're going to bring Ramila into the battle, she's going to have to be a little bit more cautious because she doesn't have any of the defense that Cinnamon possesses. So if the balance bear turns around and attacks her instead, she's going to be in some trouble. I guess that means we're going to have to move her like behind Cinnamon or something. That's awfully tricky. We don't want the balance bear to get any ideas. Though I'm pretty sure it can only move one tile anyways. Isn't that what we discovered on our previous mountains? It says that it can move 2. Maybe we'll want to set her up right here then. That should probably be far enough away, and then she can actually land an attack on the next turn and then jump back to safety. So that should allow Cuckoo the chance to go back to the nursery too, especially with Catnip on the last of her days. We need somebody over here who can protect the babies. But I wonder if Anako would try to get in on this? Just land like one attack? I mean, she's not going to be able to do any damage, but I am so tempted to have her try anyways. Even though she knows that she is super weak, she probably thinks that she could like take on the world. And did you hear that? Is something stealing shells? Is it you perhaps? Vanufan with your third and final gem? Is there something down here that we should be... Oh, taking a look at? Oh my gosh, there's actually fish down here? Oh, no way. Oh, what an amazing discovery. I was sure that we weren't going to find any algae around here. That means that if we bring Charm over to the shores, oh my goodness, you can finally go fishing again, just like your father. Well, it looks like your baby could probably pick up some more shells, just like his big brother Scrooge. Oh, he is super cute. He still has those big horns, and he still has that gray mane on his head too. It's too bad that he doesn't have the home island gene like Scrooge does, but we do know that it's still surviving in him yet. We still have a few other creatures with the home island gene too. Prophet, of course, who still needs to find a mate, and Charm is also carrying it right now too. So maybe before he goes off for those fish, we'll have to make sure that he has another baby with his mate. But as for this baby, one of you had a pretty good idea to name all of these creatures with the big horns after some reindeer. So I think this baby looks like a dasher to me. Nimble feet and nimble fingers for swiping up those shells. I wonder if he's even going to end up competing with his big brother. I suppose it depends if Scrooge finally makes it back to the tribe, or if he decides to live out the rest of his days over here by the shore. He's probably getting cold now too. Well, that simply won't do. I'm sure he'd be more than willing to accept a little bit of help from Duke Nuke here. He might be selfish, but he's not too proud. He would be willing to leech off of that warmth too. And let's all huddle around, make sure that everybody is here so we can bury Atalanta. We'll bring Duke Fanta right up to the hot springs perhaps. That way we know that he'll be toasty warm too. We won't have to worry about him getting cold out here in the meantime. But to be honest, since we do have another route up here anyways, we might as well bring him over to its side. Actually, we could have Silver try to dig it up. It's not going to be worth as much food, but he still really wants to prove himself in Duke Fanta's eyes. He wants to show that he can be just as valuable. It's probably a little bit tough for him to swallow. He used to be the only creature who could provide his tribe with food, but now he probably feels like he's not as special anymore. And look who I found lurking around the nursery again. Oh, this rogue male is going to get himself into quite a bit of trouble if he gets much closer. We already know Catnip is not going to hold back, and I don't think Cuckoo will either. So let's bring Cuckoo right over to the front of the nursery, right next to the baby. But to be honest, if we swap them around, one good hit from Catnip would probably do the trick. Well, we'll see where he tries to go. If he tries to sneak past maybe and get to Anako instead, I guess he could truly care less about the balance bear. And that means we'll have to make sure that Marina's protected too. So come on over here. Yep, the rogue male is getting far too curious for his own good. Oh, can you not even attack? Oh, I didn't think about that. The heat body doesn't give him any attack points. So that means that he's not actually going to be able to scare this rogue male away? Well, that's a bummer. That means we're going to have to scoot him back here instead and just hope that he gets one step closer to catnip. So let's bring Charm over here. We'll have Marina breed with him. A couple more tries should do the trick. Oh, that was always so frustrating when the rogue males flee like that, because I know they're just going to be back in a few turns. Well, let's have Lorana light up the way for Charm. I guess we'll have her tag along, even though she can't do much fishing. She would probably like to make sure that he's going to be okay. These two have been traveling along side by side ever since they were kids, so it's probably very important that she stays by him now. Now, since Coco is getting pretty cold, and since it looks like the fish are gone... Oh no, I hope they respawn. I guess Van Nuvan is a little bit better at fishing than we took him for. Unless maybe he just scared them all away. But if we bring Coco over here, we could possibly consider starting a family between her and Mistletoe, because I think these two have been very smitten with each other ever since they met. Mistletoe did love her singing from atop those stumps, and she's found him to be a very admirable sort. Not only has he tried his best to help out the blind baby, but he's been a great help with the roots too. So we're going to make sure that we place the digging paw into her mutation menu too. I would definitely like to see some double digging paw babies on this side of the family, because we have so many roots over here that we could dig up. And yes, I do see you, Mr. Rogue Male. Back in our line of sight again. This is why it is so frustrating. But we're gonna send you packing again soon. Now, we don't have access to the big body in our mutation menu yet. I think we still need a few more days in the cold to unlock it. But we do have the heat body. And while I know we won't see this on her babies, maybe if she passes that to her children, we'll be more likely to see the big body on them instead. As it is right now, she only has the medium body, and the spiky body too, which is much more dominant. So we want to make sure that we see the big body on their babies if possible. I think we'll go ahead and leave Mistletoe's second slot open. I'm not really sure how the dominance works between the purse snout and the gills. So if we see more gills than purse snouts, we'll make sure that we place the purse snout in his second slot. Go ahead and breed with Coco, and then you can set up a nest on the next turn, unless we bring her straight over to the nursery. I mean, we don't really want them starting a colony way off somewhere else, because they'll probably get separated from the tribe too. I suppose you could come on down here to see if you can find any little fish. Well, there is some more algae over here. That's a good sign. No fish, unfortunately, but at least that's something. That's something you can pass on to Charm. I guess we could have him scoot his way up here. Maybe into the hot springs just in case. I don't want him losing any more energy. And then we should be ready to skip the day again. Everybody else is trying to keep our other creatures warm. I mean, for one last-ditch attempt, we could actually bring Catnip right up here. Oh, I was hoping that he would go toward her and she could land in a swipe, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. So poor Catnip is going to pass away on this turn, watching as her mate bravely battles the balance bear in the distance. But she really doesn't have too much to fear. He is one serious tank. Maybe Ginger could actually watch the ladies' backs for us. We know that Cinnamon is already far too distracted by the balance bear to turn around and attack the rogue male. So as we have Ramila jump in, land her attack, poisoning the balance bear too, even better. She can scoot on back into the hot springs. Oh no. Oh, that pesky algae. Oh, I should have known. So we do have to worry about the leeches. Well, that's not too bad. If we bring you back here, at least that's another piece of food. And yes, Ginger, go ahead and attack this rogue male for us. Oh, thank goodness. Just a couple more days and he's going to be gone, so we won't have to worry about him anymore. Go ahead and grab that leech. One extra little morsel of food, and then it's up to you again, Cinnamon. Use the rest of your turns to distract the balance bear again, because we don't need him chasing after Ramila next. Now I wonder if maybe Clove is going to take up her mother's old job. A lot of these nests have started to wither away now, so somebody is going to have to take care of them. I suppose Cuckoo could even show her how it's done. He could repair this nest right here. And then we'll have Clove scoot her way into the center of the nursery so she could do the same with this one too. There you go, little one. Even though you might not be as strong as your big sister, you are still going to have a very important job. I think we're almost to the point where Anako could just fly straight over to our traveling group, and she would be able to lead them over to the battle too. So maybe we'll want to look into that next. We do have a nice tasty root up here for Duke Fanta to dig up, and there's plenty more where that came from too. So Anako, being the eagle-eyed little person out that she is, would probably see them in the distance. And if she flies up here, she should be able to scoot all the way over to Duke Fanta's side. So just like Solaris on Whale Island, she's going to be able to carry messages between both of our different families. So even if anybody does get separated after it snows, she might be able to find them and pull them out from the snow. And I'm sure that's something that somebody like Duke Nuke would find very admirable, especially after he just saved Prophet from himself too. So as we zoom out, keeping an eye, of course, as ever on that rogue male, we'll bring all of these creatures together, huddling them up so they'll all be nice and toasty warm. I believe that Lamim is also going to be passing away on this turn, so this is a good opportunity for her to find a good place to rest. I almost feel as though Silver should do the honors this time, since he knew her far longer, and they were part of the original traveling team together. It would only make sense that he would stay right by her side, even as she leaves us today. And there we go. It looks like we caught our rogue male off guard, so go ahead and attack him one more time, and that then leaves the nursery safe once more. So it's interesting how Catnip's roles have kind of been split into two between both of her daughters. She has Clove taking care of the nest, and she has Ginger taking care of the battles, so nothing will ever harm her tribe again. Now let's gently nudge little Coco back into the hot springs so she can warm herself up. I'm sure that Mistletoe has noticed that she's very, very cold. And then we'll bring Charm straight over to the water side, so he can get a good look at all of the fish swimming around down here. Let's see if any more have spawned in the meantime. No, but it looks like it's still unfortunately bare. But we might want to follow the shore down this way, because I think that's where our little friend is gone. Oh, and he's getting so cold too. We're gonna have to make sure that he doesn't freeze out there. Since he does have the debuff on him, I would imagine that the Wanderers can still feel the winter's chill. We're going to wait one more turn for Marina to have her baby, at least one more turn, because I want to make sure that we're not going to waste too much food before we can take down that balance bear. So instead, we'll just have her sit right on top of that stump, and then we'll go ahead and skip the day again. We are so close to reuniting all of our families, and it's the perfect time for it too. I believe we only have 2 more days remaining on Prophet's visions. 2 more days before that snow starts to fall. So go ahead and dig that grave for your friend Silver, and then Duke Phantom, you better keep following your nose too. I think we're going to bring him straight over here toward the Balance Bear battle, because that's where most of the roots are located. Right next to our nursery. It's good to see that they've respawned. And Prophet, I think this time you could even help us out by jumping on top of the stump, guiding us toward our tribe instead of using it to find your own path. So I'm sure that Melody will be much happier with you for this. Let's just see if we can whittle down the Balance Bear's life anymore before we start bringing our creatures toward it. We don't want to set them up too close either. It only has 15 days remaining on its lifespan, so Ginger, come on over here and land your first attack too. We're down to 11 days. Oh, I'm so tempted to have Ramila jump in as well. She's on the last of her days too, so we can't settle her beside it. But would that not be the way that she wants to go? Literally going out in a blaze of glory. She did want to prove to the tribe that she wasn't so afraid. So Prophet can whisper to his traveling buddies that it should be safe for them to creep up the mountainside. The roots are probably far enough away that they won't draw too much attention, as long as we have Duke Fanta sit up over here and dig it up from this angle. There's no way that that lumbering old balance bear will be able to catch up to him now. I'm kind of tempted to have Silver go after this root instead, just so we have a couple of extra morsels. And since Scrooge can't really collect any of his shells from this far away from the beach, I guess he's going to have to settle for those flowers yet again. We'll have him scoop up as much as he can possibly carry. Maybe he would even decorate his big horns with them, use them like a little shopping cart, just as a way to display his wealth. And with a Dasher clearly old enough to leave the nest now, maybe we could even offer up this place to Coco as a spot to have her baby. I'm sure that Marina wouldn't mind. So come on over here, we'll scoot Dasher toward his family. Maybe he could always look for shells on the shore too. We haven't scouted out this side of the island for shells, so maybe that's where they've all been hiding. As long as Dasher isn't going to be too much like his big brother at least. We can't forget about the algae for good luck. Though we might not want to see the gills on our babies anymore, Mistletoe's family is still quite connected to Splash. So the algae offering is more like a hope for good health, I suppose. A hope for good health and a hope for plenty of food for them to eat too. Maybe even a hope for some little fishy morsels. Oh my gosh, yes, you finally found them? Oh, thank goodness, Charm. You are going to have to stay right there then. Maybe you'll be able to find a couple more. Let's bring Mistletoe up this way to see if we can find our wanderer friend. Oh, looks like he may have moved on. He is very, very far away. Well, I guess we don't need to guide him then. His blindness definitely isn't stopping him. But I wonder what else he may have found on this island. He's been great at tracking down food for us so far, so we are definitely going to keep a close eye on him. But let's go ahead and skip the day one more time, because we only have one more day to go before the snow falls, and we are not stopping until that prophecy comes true. So with the oracles watching, with the ancestors watching, will this finally be the day that we take down our great feast? I think it might just be, Cinnamon. You might as well do the honors if you can. Oh, so many leeches. Is that Splash's warning to stay away from the water? Well, I guess it doesn't matter for Cinnamon because now we finally have enough food to feed the tribe. So let's have Ramila come on over here and pick up all of this meat for us. I feel like she deserves it for helping out too, even without those big mammoth feet. She's on her very last day, and she can be celebrated as one of the victors against the Balance Bear. No stories about her quivering in fear in the hot springs anymore. Her poison fangs were an excellent help. So with the Balance Bear finally defeated, now might be a pretty good time for Anako to take this message back to the leaders. She can flutter all the way down to her sister again and see this brand new little baby in the nest. Well, that answers one of my questions at least. It looks like the gills are a bit more dominant than the purse now after all. But he does have some pretty interesting eyes. Oh, those beautiful purple eyes against that dark fur. That is very striking. He looks like a little chocolate chip cookie of some sort. Now to go along with the songs that brought his parents together, I think we're going to name this baby Jingle. And now we should be safe to have Anako flutter the rest of her way over to Lorana, who appears to be carrying one of the leeches. Yep, you definitely have a nice big leech stuck to you. Let's have Dasher use his nimble fingers to pick that off of you. And then it must be Mistletoe who has the other? Well, Charm is still distracted by the fish, and it even looks like we have one of the piranha down here, so good thing we caught those leeches in time. In fact, you're probably a bit too worried to catch the piranha. We'll have you come over here to pick that leech off of your friend. And then I guess you two can continue your way down the shore, see what else you can find. It's so interesting how this is where all the algae is spawned. Everything else was completely bare. I mean, even wrapping all the way around to Whale Island, we didn't see a single piece of algae. So this is definitely where we want our water babies to roam. I guess our blind little friend was right. Wherever he's wandered off to now, Mistletoe is probably really sad to see him go. I mean, he can't have wandered too far, right? He has to be around here somewhere. Wherever the food is, we know that's where he's hiding. Now, normally I would have Lorana stay right next to Charm all the way through, but I think she's starting to realize she's getting pretty old too. She only had one baby in her lifetime, and she still has to find somebody to pass those bluebird feathers to, so she's probably feeling a little bit lost and confused right now. Let's bring her back to her tribe. We'll have her scoot her way through the hot springs, and we'll see if she can figure out what to do with those bluebird feathers. As she congratulates the warriors, of course. That's part of the reason why she's coming back as well, though it looks like she won't get the chance to reunite with her sister before she goes. So, Duke Phantom, let's bring you on down here. I'm sure you can smell all of those delicious roots, and you are not going to let a meal like that go to waste, are you? Silver has just one more root to dig up over here, and then we can have him hop on into the hot springs. Take a nice relaxing dip, one last time before the snow falls. I am a little bit nervous, but at least our tribes have made it back together. They're going to be much stronger as a unit rather than apart. And despite how challenging the snowfall can be, it's a pretty good time for new love to blossom too. I wonder if Prophet found himself particularly taken by the strength of some of our knights. Maybe this is a good opportunity for our oracles to finally grow once more. And as for Scrooge, maybe this would be a good opportunity to melt his heart a little bit. I wonder if he's going to find anybody here who takes his fancy. Somebody who he would finally be willing to share some of his delicious shells with. So this should finally be it. This should finally be the day, Prophet. No more getting the weather mixed up. In one more day, the snow is finally going to fall. The mountains are finally freezing over. So what does that mean for the future of our tribe? They've never seen anything like this before. Prophet actually predicts that in just 2 days it's going to get nice and sunny again. So maybe Melody is finally pleased with our tribe. Maybe she's seen how we've all come together, how even those on the outskirts of our tribe are just trying to keep everybody warm, and the strength of the sun will melt the snow next time we join them again. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!